Have you ever wondered what your toys do when you're fast asleep? Do they whisper secrets, share dreams, or maybe go on little adventures of their own? Tonight, we'll discover one such secret in the Lost Toy adventure. In a cozy house on Willow Lane lived a cheerful little girl named Emma. She had a big imagination and an even bigger heart. Among all her toys, one was her favorite, a small brown teddy bear named Bobo. He had button eyes, a red ribbon around his neck, and a tiny patch on his ear where Emma had sewn him up herself. Every night, Emma hugged Bobo tightly before falling asleep, whispering her dreams into his soft fur. But one morning, when the golden sun peeked through the curtains, Bobo was gone. Emma searched under her blanket, behind her pillows, inside her toy box, even in the laundry basket, but her little bear was nowhere to be found. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Where are you, Bobo?" Outside, the wind carried her soft voice far beyond the window, across the garden, and into the tall grass near the path, where Bobo lay quietly, lost and alone. The morning dew sparkled around him as he opened his tiny stitched eyes. He didn't know where he was or how he got there. All he remembered was falling from Emma's backpack when they were at the park the day before. He brushed off the grass and he looked around. Everything seemed so big and he knew the trees towered like giants and the birds flew high above. Bobo took a deep breath. He must go back to Emma, he thought. She'll be worried. And so, with determination stitched into every thread, Bobo began his long journey home. The grass brushed against his fur as he walked. He stumbled, fell, and he picked himself up again. The morning sun warmed his back, and little by little, he made his way through the meadow. He didn't know where to go, but something inside him, maybe the laugh Emma had given him, whispered, "Keep going." Soon, he reached a small bubbling stream. The water sparkled under the sunlight, but it looked wide and deep to a tiny toy bear. Bobo hesitated. He looked down at his reflection, wet, muddy, and a little scared. But then he remembered Ma's smile. "For Emma," he whispered, and he carefully stepped onto a leaf floating near the edge. The leaf wobbled, tilted, and then splashed. He fell right in. The cold water wrapped around him. But Bobo didn't panic. He paddled as best as he could, holding his little paws above the current, until he reached the other side. Dripping wet but proud, he climbed onto the shore. He had crossed his first big challenge. As the day went on, the forest grew thicker. The air smelled like pine and wildflowers, and the light danced through the branches. But not everything in the woods was friendly. From above came the sound of wings sharp and sudden. A large black crow circled the trees, its beady eyes glinting as it spotted something shiny, Bobo's red ribbon. The crow swooped down with a loud call, and Bobo ran as fast as his little legs could carry him. The ground was rough, roots tangled like ropes, but he didn't stop. The crow's shadow grew larger until it almost covered him, but then, with a final burst of courage, Bobo rolled into a hollow log just in time. The crow screeched in frustration and he flew away. Inside the log, Bobo sat quietly, catching his breath. His fur was messy, his ribbon torn, but his spirit was strong. He whispered softly, "I'm coming, Emma," he promised. When he stepped out, the forest had begun to glow with the colors of sunset. The sky was painted with gold and the audience, and the fireflies flickered all around him. It was beautiful, like a dream. For the first time since he'd been lost, Bobo smiled. As he continued walking, he saw an old tall rabbit sitting beneath a tree stump. Her fur was faded, her ears drooped, but her eyes sparkled with warmth. She looked at Bobo kindly and sighed, "You must be far from home." Bobo nodded, and though the rabbit's voice was gentle, it carried great wisdom. She reached into her pocket and handed him a small, golden button. "It once belonged to my child," she sighed softly. "Let it light your way when you feel lost." Bobo took the button and thanked her from his heart. The rabbit smiled, whispering, "Every toy's journey begins with love, and ends with it too." Those words stayed with Bobo as he walked into the twilight. By nightfall, he could finally see the twinkling lights of the town. He recognized the street lamps, the sound of distant cars, and the faint glow of a masked window. His tiny paws were tired, but his head felt lighter than ever. He was almost home. He climbed up the small fence by the garden, slipping through the flowers that Emma and her mother had planted. The house looked quiet. Through the window, he could see Emma sitting on her bed, holding her pillow, eyes glistening with tears. Bobo stitches at the sight. He wanted to tell her he was here, that he never meant to leave. With one last push, he climbed through the open window and he tumbled softly onto the bed beside her. Emma looked down, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Bobo," she whispered. She hugged him tight, so tight that for a moment, the world seemed to stop. Tears turned into laughter as she kissed the patch on his ear. "You came back," she sighed. And though Bobo couldn't speak, his little button eyes seemed to shine brighter than ever. That night, Emma fell asleep with Bobo safely tucked in her arms. The golden button glimmered softly on the bedside table, catching the moonlight through the window. Outside, the garden swayed in the gentle breeze, and a single firefly hovered near the window watching, glowing, and then disappearing into the night. And somewhere, far away in the forest, the old rabbit looked up at the stars and smiled, for she knew that real love always finds its way home. So, if you ever lose something you love, remember Bobo's journey. Maybe it's not really lost. Maybe it's just finding its way back to you. And if you like the Lost Tale adventure, don't forget to come back to Wonder Tales, where every story begins with a little magic and ends with a big hat. Good night, little dreamer. Sleep tight, and keep believing in the magic of love.